Alright, what up? In this video, I am talking about the throat chakra. If you are not familiar with what these energy centers are, with what chakras are, I suggest you first watch my video, How Our Chakras Manifest Our Physical Reality. And that video gives you a basic understanding of this theme, as well as introducing the first base root chakra. Then you can continue the series, move up these energy centers until you reach this video and so on. If you're already familiar with what this whole thing is, let's get started. In this video, I'm going to talk about what the throat chakra is, what physical parts of the body it is responsible for, how it operates when it is in a balanced and harmonious state versus when it is in a overactive, blocked, or disbalanced state. I'll talk about which of the zodiacs have the strongest throat chakra so that you can get a deeper understanding and kind of connect the dots better of what this instrument is, tying it to the knowledge of astrology. And then in the end, I'm going to talk about how to balance these energy centers. So the mantra of the throat chakra is, I hear and speak the truth with love and compassion. The translation from Sanskrit is Vishuddha, which means pure or purification. It is, if you look at any chakra system map, you're going to see that it is located halfway between the heart and throat at the base of the neck. Its element is ether, which is the non-material true self, right? It does not have form or base structure to itself. The throat chakra deals with expression and communication mostly. Based on its location, you can get an idea of what physical manifestations it is going to be responsible for. That would be the mouth, throat, ears, neck, voice, tongue, lungs, chest, jaw, the airway system, the parathyroid and thyroid glands, right? As well as the arms, surprisingly. I'm going to explain that very soon. So on the negative spectrum, if that energy center is blocked off or disbalanced for way too long, you're going to see some manifestation or disturbance in this area, which may be asthma, thyroid issues, tinnitus, I think I said that correctly, maybe I didn't, swollen neck, so any sort of trouble around that area. And right, what's interesting about the arms is something I'm going to mention when I talk about the zodiacs. So in a balanced state, the chakra operates and allows for the intellectual and rational mind and the higher spiritual self to sort of merge together as one to express truth and knowledge in a harmonious flowing state. That's where there's no blockage or limitation in your expression of your true, most authentic self. It allows for authentic expression of your truth, creativity, purpose, needs, and dislikes. That's where you're really able to communicate that with yourself, for yourself, as well as to other people. It allows you to be your most authentic self, which is important because you don't want to suppress yourself too much, right? Suppression of emotions or your desires, your sort of authentic self or your needs may eventually cause further disturbances, right? Suppression is going to drive that inwards, and that can later on manifest as something much more destructive or something on the physical plane, such as I mentioned the thyroid issue, some issue with the neck, area, that sort of thing. Right. It also allows you to live your most authentic and aligned life because you are coming from a place of authenticity and your personal truth, right? And that is very different for each individual. It allows for free artistic inspiration. It gives you an ease of communication, and you are able to listen carefully and be fully present with another person in a conversation, or when you are listening to a person. You're not just thinking about what you are going to say, you are truly there, listening to what they got to say. And communication is something I'm going to also tie into the zodiac. That is primarily one of the main themes which has to do with this energy center. When it is in an unbalanced state, that's where you have suppressed emotions. That's where you keep that within and you're not able to communicate that to the people causing you trouble, or even just to yourself, because it is necessary to kind of express and spill that energy if you don't want to be holding on to it. And when you hold on to that negative energy for way too long, as I've mentioned, it can manifest as something destructive on the mental, spiritual plane, or in physical trouble, right? You will not have an ability to express your emotions. You will have certain perfectionistic tendencies, and your creativity is not gonna be as easily accessible, right? You will have an inability to express your authentic self and your desires, needs, or dislikes. So that can lead to you basically living an inauthentic life, or just people pleasing and going with what people expect and want of you, instead of living your most authentic, true self, right? And you will not be able to fully listen, understand, or connect with others. Back to the communication, you're not going to be there when listening. You're not going to be fully present. You will not be able to understand or kind of match with a person and fully understand the depth of their intention, what they are trying to explain to you or communicate with you. You will be fearful of speaking in front of other people. That may be just expressing your ideas, emotions, desires to a partner, a friend, one individual, or it can be, according to situation, a group of friends, a group of people, or a large, let's say, public speaking event where you are unable to present your project or unable to present your idea to some investors, for example. That's when you get on stage and you literally are unable to function. That is when the energy center is completely blocked off. I don't know if that's the best example, what I'm about to give, but when you were in school and you had to present your project to the class, there was always, let's say, some individuals who just refused to do that in front of the class because they just have this large fear to communicate and express their project towards others, be kind of the center of attention, and present their thing to the whole class. I don't know if that's a good example, once again, but if a person has a complete fear, phobia, or inability to kind of, in school, give a school project, a 10-minute, talk in front of the class, that may be that. I'm just trying to help you connect the dots. I don't know if this is a good example. I just thought that would make sense. So, which zodiacs have the strongest throat chakra? I was not able to find anything on who has the weakest, because usually in these videos I talk about who has the throat chakra as their weakest, so that I can put an extra bit of attention towards these signs, and they may then kind of analyze themselves, see if they are on the disbalanced, blocked off side of things, right? But the strongest ones for the throat chakra would be Gemini and Virgo, because before I explain that, let me say that the throat chakra is ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury is the fastest moving planet. It is, I don't need to explain that further, but it rules communication. It is the planet of commerce, sales, anything dealing with trade, business, wealth accumulation and communication, right? The god Mercury or Hermes is the messenger of the gods in Roman Greek mythology. He is seen to bring down the fire from Mount Olympus, and he is the god of commerce, communication, trade, and all that stuff that the planet Mercury is responsible for. Now, Gemini, I need to find out what the planets, I forgot to do that before the video, what planets rule the individual signs. But anyways, the Gemini is an air sign, air having to do with the intellect, the kind of rational thinking part of our nature. And that also has to do with communication. Gemini has a connection to the physical body. Each zodiac is represented by a certain part of the body, just like the chakras. And in the case of Gemini, that would be the lungs, throat, mouth, shoulders, and arms. And that is very, very similar to what the throat chakra is responsible for. Now, I said I was going to talk about the arms and why arms are so are tied to the throat chakra as well as the Gemini. Well, language and communication has been around before it was verbal, because back in like the Stone Age or whatever, they used their arms to do certain gang signs, whatever, like go crazy, and communicate that way, right? So hands have been an instrument of communication before the vocal cord was, which makes it such a great tie to the Gemini, which is literally the sign of communication. Gemini is the third sign. The third letter of the alphabet is C. And what type of words start with the letter C? Communication, counselor, consultant, comedian, comic, all these sort of themes have to do with expression, right? Now, Virgo as well has the throat chakra as its strongest energy center, but unlike the Gemini, which uses it just to express ideas and themselves, the Virgo uses the power of the throat chakra to heal and nurture others, not just communicate ideas. And the kind of perfectionistic, well-structured attention to detail characteristics of the Virgo archetype allow for specific and structured communication, right? So that's that. Let me quickly Google what planets have to do with each of these signs. Virgo ruling planet. Virgo ruling planet is Mercury. That is kind of interesting. I did not even know that. That makes sense. Mercury, as I've mentioned, fastest moving planet, planet of communication. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Gemini ruling planet. Gemini ruling planet Mercury. Holy fuck. That's funny. That's actually funny. That makes a whole lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. Did we not just discover something interesting? Right, now the last bit of the video is where I talk about how to balance that particular energy center. So, where I get a whole lot of inspiration from for these videos is the book titled The Energy Codes by Dr. Sue Morter. There she describes how to balance each of these energy centers and how they influence kind of our physical reality. And she gives a great description of certain yoga poses, mantras, mudras, affirmations that allow each energy center to operate in vitality and harmony. So this book is something I recommend, but besides that, just some ideas I have for myself is that obviously speaking out certain affirmations or mantras would allow that particular energy center to open because you are connecting it to the, physical kind of vocal cords, you're speaking your desires, manifestations, or affirmations, whatever, into existence. You are communicating it. You're letting that energy not just sit there, you're letting that energy, you're giving it an outflow, a healthy outflow, which means that it will not remain stagnant in the body, later on causing certain derangement or physical disturbances, right? Even whether you are able to express that to yourself or to others, the point is that you have this outflow, right? And you can consciously express your truth more, kind of pay more attention to living a more authentic existence, a more truthful existence, and be authentic in your expression towards others, right? It is also a good idea to find some sort of outlet, some creative outlet that ties to creativity, where your expression is able to also play a role. A good example would be a YouTube channel where you are explaining something or expressing yourself in whichever way that sounds like a decent idea. It can be anything, though. That's something you really need to see for yourself, what resonates with you, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, but using that information to get ahead. I think I have said everything I have wanted to, and yeah, see you in the next video where we go on to the third eye, which is going to be super interesting, as well as the crown chakra. Those are going to be the final two, and then let's see how this series continues on. Thank you for being here, and see you.